Hi FLC students, this is Mrs. Moore, and I know talking in this video is not going to replace standing in front of the classroom and meeting all of you in person, but I hope that it will at least be a little bit more personal and it will give me the chance to talk about some of the things that I talk about typically at the beginning of the year. I know some of you have had some questions about the course in general, so I'm hopeful that I'll be able to maybe answer some of those questions in this video. First and foremost, I want to take a look at the freshman literature and composition homepage on Schoology. If you'll notice, there really are two main things listed there. The reference document section, where I will keep all of the important materials for the entire year. And so those will be for documents that relate to things the whole entire year, or links that will be relevant the whole entire year. When we have units listed, you will see folders for those individual units listed beneath that. There will also be a daily schedule, and on that I will try to list out what we are doing from a weekly standpoint so that you know what's coming up and you know what you missed if you were absent. And I have not been able to do that because of some unforeseen circumstances, but once I'm back on my feet, I'm going to be able to go in there and to update that and make sure that you know exactly what's going on from day to day. Inside the FLC reference document section, there are several things listed. If you notice, there's a link here to the WIW, which you will learn more about when you go through the library orientation. There's a link to the academic ethics form, and this is a statement that basically says that you will not plagiarize your work, and we would like you to review this document with your parents and then indicate that you have reviewed it and that you agree to its terms by clicking on the button in the form. So I ask you to do that by next Friday. There's also directions to sign up for remind.com as the year gets going. I will try to use that to remind you to bring your book, to remind you you have an upcoming test, to remind you that we're meeting in the computer lab, or various other things that might be helpful. And if you think that would be something that would benefit you, I encourage you to sign up, and the directions are listed with that link. There's a parent survey beneath that, and then there's a survey for students down here. They're both also due on the 28th, which is next Friday. And again, I ask both you and your parents to do those surveys. I would love to learn more about you from your parents' perspective, and I'd love to learn more about you from your perspective. The course overview is housed in the middle of that. And then if you notice at the bottom, there's a practice Googling folder, which is not actually visible on your page, but you will learn a little bit more about that next week. So I'm going to click on the course overview, and it will bring you to this document, which is a little bit difficult to see on this screencast. So for the purposes of our video, I'm going to actually click on the real document here. So if you take a look at this, you'll notice that I start the overview with a Dr. Seuss quote, which might seem a little bit strange since you're in ninth grade, and I recognize that, but I'm starting with this quote for two reasons. First, because Dr. Seuss went to Dartmouth, which is my alma mater, and so I tend to root for him maybe a little bit more than I should. But the second reason, which is a little bit more appropriate, is the fact that I believe in the quote. You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself in any direction you choose, and you're on your own, and you know what you know. You are the guy who will decide where to go. Often you see this quote, which is inside the book, All the Places You'll Go. Often you see this come up in cards, or it's quoted in various notes that people write for graduation, whether it's high school graduation, college graduation, 8th grade graduation. And so it seems like a very appropriate book for that sort of departure from one period and entry into another. And you don't often see it when people are beginning new journeys, but you are starting a journey, and I think it applies to you just as much. As you set foot in this high school, you are also setting foot in a place where you have more opportunities than you've ever had before, more freedoms than you have ever had before. And I encourage all of you to really take advantage of your opportunities in productive and safe ways, obviously. But you have more clubs and activities at Upper Arlington High School than any other school in the state. There are more sports teams here than there are in any other school in the state besides The Ohio State University. So that includes all of the other colleges. You also have state-of-the-art visual arts program, a state-of-the-art music program, theater program. I could go on and on. We have outstanding traditions here and opportunities, and I encourage all of you to find something that you've either really found that you loved and then you want to pursue it on a deeper level, or something that maybe you don't even realize that you love, something you've never tried before, and to go out there and challenge yourself, meet people, get to know the types of things that you enjoy. You won't regret it, and it will give you really the chance to get involved in this school in ways that will benefit you, both in that activity, in the classroom, and in life. I also encourage you to think about this as you begin your class journeys. You come here with a clean slate, and you have the chance to really kind of build the future that you want to build. You have the power to come in here and work as hard as you can to take advantage of the resources that we have to help you and really make the most of your time. You also could make the choice not to do that, but that would be silly. So let's just assume that all of you are going to jump in and do your best. As you move down a little bit further on the overview, I write you a little bit of a note that tells you what the class will entail. It's your standard survey class for language arts. So you will be doing all sorts of writing, lots of writing this year. You will be learning how to deeply revise your papers in ways that you have never dreamed of deeply revising anything. We will do a lot of reading of a variety of genres, and we will learn how to read those pieces very deeply. The texts that we will read for sure are listed below, and these are the ones that you can run out and buy. So for those of you who are like me and you like to buy your books in advance, then you can order them on Amazon. You can run over to Half Price Books and you can buy them. You can also buy them as the unit comes up. I'll give you a little bit of a warning before they're due. We will have other books that we will read, particularly in the memoir unit, and we'll discuss that as it gets closer. You have some choice with that unit, so I did not list those books in advance because I wanted to wait until the year sort of progressed to be able to give you the chance to think about what you'll want to read. Beneath that, you see a list of required materials. In the past, I've asked students to have a binder specific for this class, but because I'm going to do my best to try to go digital for the first time in my career, I am not asking you to have a binder, but I would like you to have a section in your binder so that you're able to put the sheets of paper that you do get in class in that binder or folder or whatever you choose to use for that. I'd also like you to have loose leaf paper, and this will be for work that you do in class, for essay work that you do in class that you can take with you, also for timed writings, all those sorts of things. I'd like you to have 2 composition books, and I know some of you have questions about this. The first book will be for class activities, and I want it to be bound in a composition book because it's hard to lose the whole book, or it's much harder to lose the whole book than it is to lose an individual sheet of paper. We're going to use this for, I do a lot of things where I'll ask you to jot down your thoughts. I'll ask you to do some thinking, and then you're going to get into groups and you're going to work through that thinking together. There will also be things you will do in groups that I will have you write in those composition books, and so I'd like you to have that with you every day in class. You're also going to use the other one, so the other composition book will be a journal, and we'll start at the front of it and complete entries from that direction. I'll also have you flip it upside down, and you're going to use the back of it, so you'll write in it sort of going the other way. They'll meet in the middle, and you'll collect a variety of tips of the day, and so that will make a little bit more sense when we get started with that. But that's why I want you to have 2 composition books. They're for 2 purposes. I'd also like you to have earbuds as you guys get your computers, and also if we're able to use some of the other devices in the classroom. It gets quite loud and is very difficult to concentrate if you have a bunch of computers playing videos aloud. So I'd like you to have those, and I'd like you to keep them with you at all times so that you can use them whenever you need them. Writing utensils, pretty straightforward. 3 to 4 colored highlighters. Please get the multicolored packs. It's not going to be very helpful to have 4 yellow highlighters unless you get 4 yellow highlighters and another friend gets 4 orange highlighters and another friend gets 4 green highlighters, and then you guys can, and another friend gets 4 pink highlighters, and then you guys all swap them. But you will be highlighting things in your papers in various colors. We have a very active editing process, and so in order to be able to do that effectively, you need to have multiple colors. Post-it notes. We will use this to mark your books, particularly your textbooks, and so if you could get those, that would be great. The smaller 2x2 ones seem to be less clumsy and a little bit easier for people to use, so that's why I specified. If you do not have those at home or you can't find them, please do not go crazy looking for them. Regular Post-it notes will work just as well. And then as an option, we tend to go through a lot of tissues throughout the year. I have started a supply, but if you are able to donate a box of tissues to the class, then we would be forever grateful, particularly as allergy season kicks in. Your responsibilities for learning. If you notice, I don't have a lot of rules. I think that it all comes down to respect. And if you begin the year with an idea of respect and you guide your decisions based on respect, then everything sort of takes care of itself. So I expect you to have respect for your fellow classmates, respect for your teachers, whether that be me or a substitute teacher, or if we have a student teacher, anyone who walks into this room deserves respect. Respect for other cultures and other viewpoints. Even if you don't agree with what somebody believes, I expect you to respect the fact that they're allowed to have that opinion. Respect for property, respect for learning, and respect for yourself. The next sort of line item on there is just to let you know that I'm kind of one of those people who really likes to just face things head on. I think a lot of trouble arises when people keep their frustrations or confusions buried. I think if you are finding yourself frustrated, overwhelmed, confused, not really sure what's going on, the very best thing in the whole world for you to do is to speak up, to reach out. I encourage people to come see me during my office hours. I'm in the WIW first period, which again we'll explain more next week. And then I have planning period and lunch during 4th and 5th. So I am available during all of your lunch periods, and I would be more than happy to meet with you to help you through something, whether that is a concept in class or it's helping you figure out how to organize your plan book to be able to get everything that you have going on in your life accomplished. Freshman year tends to be a year where people feel really overwhelmed because you really have a lot going on that you haven't had going on before. And so if you're finding yourself overwhelmed, please reach out. Shutting down is not going to be a good thing for you to kind of deal with and kind of dig yourself out of the hole once that happens. So if you can speak up when it happens, then we can work through a solution, and I promise you that we'll be able to get things settled, and you'll feel much better about it. My email address is listed there. You're welcome to stay after class. If you can't stay after class or you don't want to ask a question in class, then please always feel free to send me an email, and I'll be happy to set up a time where we can talk through things. Please note also that my email address is a little bit different from everybody else. I'm LM Moore instead of just L Moore. So I always tell people to put my email address in their address book, because when you get to the point where you want to send me an email, you're usually a little bit frantic, and so you don't think to look up what my email address is. It's much simpler if you already have it on hand. Under class details, if you notice, your papers will be typed according to MLA style, and you'll learn more about that next week. And I want you to keep all of your papers. We actually have a portfolio assignment at the end of the year where part of your final exam, the majority of your final exam, will be to analyze the papers that you wrote throughout the course of the year so that you can discuss your growth, your strengths, your weaknesses, your best paper. You need to have all of your papers, including your rough drafts, ready for you to be able to sort of compile them. So Google Drive is an awesome tool to be able to keep all of your papers, and I also will encourage you to keep your drafts and rename them separate documents unless you're able to really kind of get a good handle on the revisions feature that they offer. And then the last thing says I will provide a syllabus that outlines the work ahead. And I typed this before I found out in a meeting on Friday that they're really encouraging us not to pass out a syllabus so that you don't have too many places to click to look for things. So, and I just haven't had a chance to change that. But what I will do instead of passing out a syllabus is, if you go back to the home page here, you'll see that I have a daily schedule listed here, where, as I mentioned at the beginning, I will list what's going on in the class, and I will also put anything that's due, so all of your homework will appear on your calendar. So if you notice, there's a bunch of things listed here. So I will do my best to do that this year. This is quite different from the way that we've done things in the past. So we'll work through it together and we'll figure it out. And if there's something that would work better for you, I'm open to suggestions, and I'm happy to try to change things to make it work for all of you, because at the end of the day, I just want you to be successful. If you look under the grading policy, we'll go over this in more detail as you have bigger assignments that come in. you will not have anything major due before I'm back. And so in the meantime, you just need to make sure that you do your homework. So follow the directions, do your homework.